So here we are. I do not, by any stretch of the imagination, want to discuss RussiaGate even once more. I'm done with it. I don't want to talk about it. It's annoying that I have to, as I'm prepping for the show, it's like a weight on my mind. There's like an anvil attached to my leg, and I'm dragging it as I'm trying to move forward. I'm trying to, get the discourse focused on the things that really, really matter. Let's talk about healthcare, which, by the way, we'll be doing later on in the show. Let's talk about, the economy. Let's talk about war. Let's talk about all these things that directly affect people's lives and that the Democrats and the national media should be focusing on. But we can't get past this RussiaGate thing, man. We can't get past this RussiaGate thing. So, Rachel Maddow, who was the number one RussiaGate peddler, and specifically the most extreme version of RussiaGate. That's what she pushed, the most extreme version of RussiaGate. The Trump is Putin's puppet narrative, the collusion/treason narrative. Well, you're not going to be surprised to learn that in the wake of the Mueller news, she didn't exactly, walk back things she said, or say, hey man, my bad, I kind of got a key part of the story wrong, one of the biggest part of the story, the core of it, I messed up. There was none of that. In fact, what she did is a segment where she listed, here are all these questions that I now have for Mueller and for Barr. And she basically is in a hole, and she decided, I'm going to keep digging. Because she invested so much time, so much energy on this issue, that now, even though we have some very conclusive news about it, she's kind of just tap dancing around it. So watch, this is the end of her long-winded rant on this, and then I want to come back and talk about it.
While we are on the subject of pie in the sky, or real-world circumstances, when it comes to the bottom line for this moment in American history, when it comes to the bottom line that we have just been through a remarkable thing, we have been through a circumstance in which a hostile foreign adversary launched a complex and sophisticated attack to interfere with our presidential election so they could help get their favored candidate into the White House, and he, in fact, got into the White House. When it comes to that bottom line, now that President Trump is praising Robert Mueller as an honorable man and talking about what a great country this is and expressing such great satisfaction with what Barr says are the findings of Mueller's report, does this mean that President Trump agrees with Mueller's findings about Russia attacking our election? Can we expect President Trump and the Trump White House to finally accept the underlying factual record that Russia did, in fact, attack us? And you don't do that to another country because you're their friend? I know, I'm just getting crazy. But the Barr report has given us just this whirlwind of questions. I mean, the Mueller report, if and when we see it, should answer most of them. But tick-tock, how long do we have to wait? Stay with us.
So the new thing that they're all saying, and I want to be crystal clear in my reaction to this, and I hope everybody who buys into one level or another of what she's saying listens closely. Their new thing is, well, Bob Barr, is his name Bob? It might not be Bob. Something Barr. There was another Bob Barr who was like a libertarian candidate back in the day. Attorney General Barr. He did the summary of the Mueller report, and he released it. Now, is it true that Barr is a right-wing political hack appointed by Trump, picked by Trump, for the reason that he's very pro-Trump? That is true. But you know what else is true? The Barr summary which was released. Robert Mueller, if the Barr summary was not accurate and wasn't correct on the key findings, Bob Mueller or any of a number of people on his team would have come out and said, whoa, he's mischaracterizing the findings of the report. He's mischaracterizing it. He's trying to be too conclusive on the side of there's nothing really to see here. And I'm here to tell you, Bob Mueller, or somebody on Bob Mueller's team, is here to tell you, no, he got it wrong. He's mischaracterizing the report. Now, how do we know that he would do a thing like this? He's already done it. He already did it. What was the story? There was what was it, Manafort or somebody? They were trying to claim he went to go talk to Julian Assange. that was a breaking news. Everybody, all the mainstream media outlets covered it because they don't give a fuck about getting stories right, and they just want to rush to double down on their narrative, which is exactly what happened in that case. I think it was BuzzFeed who originally reported it. There was no evidence behind it. It turned out to be factually wrong. The day after that leaked, Bob Mueller came out and said, no, this is not true. This is not true. This didn't happen. So I'm not going to let, mainstream media continue to cum themselves over this for the next week straight. So now, again, the trick from Maddow here, and I don't know if she's doing it on purpose. Like, I don't know if she's a liar, or I don't know if she's actually silly enough to believe what she's saying here. But one of the points that she keeps going back to, and many others, by the way, keep going back to, even very smart people, they keep going back to this idea that, well, this is just the Barr summary. When we see the Mueller report, how do we know? Maybe it'll say the opposite. Maybe it'll say Trump is guilty of collusion or is guilty of obstruction or there will be more indictments coming. You think Bob Mueller would sit around after just a total, skewing of his findings in the opposite direction? Would he sit there as Bob Barr? Why do I keep calling him Bob? Is he Bob? I just know it's Barr. Too many bars in this world. Is he going to sit around as Barr is totally mischaracterizing his findings? No, he's not going to do that. They're going to correct it. So that leads you to believe what? The summary is correct. It's correct. So I need you to stop misleading people. Again, I don't know if she's lying or if she's actually silly enough to believe her line of BS here. But it is BS. And if people are upset at me for pointing that out, I'm really not that sorry. I'm not. Because you gotta stop with this delusional thinking, this conspiracy theory thinking. Now, but what are the findings in the Mueller report as explained in the summary by Barr? There's 3 things you cannot get around. Number 1, no evidence. That's Mueller. I'm quoting Mueller, not Barr, because in the report, Barr quotes Mueller. No evidence of collusion. That's according to Mueller, not Barr. No evidence. No more indictments coming. No more indictments coming. No more indictments coming. And no recommendation of impeachment. Those 3 things cannot be overlooked, cannot be downplayed. You can't obfuscate and deflect your way out of those 3 facts. So stop trying. And I am fucking floored at how pervasive this line is. It's insane. If I tweet anything about the Mueller report and the findings, there 1,000 fucking cocky idiots respond with, "Oh, I didn't know you read the report." Are you serious? Now, also, let me be clear. Should the report be released in full? Absolutely it should. 100%. I believe in government transparency like everybody should. It's a no-brainer you should release the report. Absolutely. But stop pretending like it's going to change anything. It's not going to change dick. And you need to know that. So what she's doing here is doubling down on a conspiracy. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why is she doing this? Well, take a look at one reason. This is from Luke Savage. He said, and he's quoting a Daily Beast article here, Maddow, who has consistently vied for the first or second top-rated cable news program, was 6th on Monday evening, down almost 500,000 total viewers from the previous Monday, as was MSNBC's second top-rated program in primetime. And there were more ratings that came out. She plummeted all the way to 10th in the ratings. She was up at the top. So she was the number 1 RussiaGate peddler. It was every single day. And again, she pushed the most extreme version of it, that Trump is basically a Putin puppet and that a foreign adversary is running our country. Now her conspiracy theory imploded. Well, guess what? It was good for ratings. So what's she going to do? Is she going to be upfront and honest and say, listen, hey, in these ways I think I was right, but on the core point I was wrong. There was no collusion. There's no evidence of it. What do you want me to tell you? She doesn't do that. She doesn't do that. She's trying to weasel her way. She's using all of her brain power to try to rationalize now. And say, well, what we don't know, hey, here are these 15 questions I came up with. And, I mean, listen, Barr is a political hack, so he's the one who wrote the summary. I mean, the Mueller report. Why aren't we seeing it? Maybe that says something else. Honestly, guys, this is at the level. I need you to understand this. Digest this point. This is liberal Benghazi. That was the most poignant thing I've ever fucking said, and I've been saying it for years now. This is liberal Benghazi. All the ways we used to mock all the idiots on Fox News for melting down over Benghazi and coming up with bizarre theories. They ordered a stand down and Hillary wanted our ambassador to die. And blah, blah, blah. And on the left, we used to look at them like, are you mental? What's wrong with you? Seriously? You believe that? You really believe that? You really believe that? You really believe that? Well, now, the shoe's on the other foot. This is exactly what we're seeing. It's totally analogous. And by the way, there's an old quote of Rachel Maddow that makes a lot more sense to me now. She said years ago that she thinks Glenn Beck is a fantastic broadcaster, that he's an amazing broadcaster. She has become the liberal Glenn Beck. I mean, it's what it is. It's what she is. Now, the final point I'll make is, notice what she did there. She went from, okay, fine, the report says no evidence of collusion, no more indictments coming, no recommendation of impeachment. My entire theory imploded. But I guess Trump accepts, though, the other findings of the report that Russia, quote, attacked our election. Now, don't you think that rhetoric's maybe a little extreme and a little dangerous? Another nuclear-armed power, quote, attacked us, attacked our election. But dig a little deeper here. What's she referring to? Literally what she's referring to there is, number one, a Russian troll farm, which we've spoken about at length on the show before. You know what they did? They made memes. They came up with the muscular cartoon Bernie Sanders. They did the cartoons where they pretended like Hillary was Satan and Trump is Jesus and represents everything good. And they were on, by the way, they were on a variety of sides for all different political issues. You want to know why? Because it's a troll farm. It's a troll farm. You know what they're about? Clicks. They're trying to make money like any other troll farm. And the impressions for this troll farm were next to none. But this is what they're using to say, Russia attacked our election. Russia attacked our election. Is Trump accepting these dire findings? This is beyond hyperbolic and dumb. And the other thing she's referring to is that Russia maybe were the ones who got the information and the emails on Hillary Clinton and the DNC and gave them to WikiLeaks, and then WikiLeaks ran with those stories. So let me ask Rachel, if it was the other way around and WikiLeaks got incredible dirt on the RNC and Donald Trump, and WikiLeaks released those emails, which showed that the Republicans were trying to rig the primary, which showed that the candidate was out there talking about how there's intolerable bigotry against the rich in this country. Intolerable. I can't believe we treat the rich as we do. I think we should have totally free and open trade borders in this country. We should, basically, Hillary was caught saying we should do NAFTA on steroids, TPP on steroids. It was caught that they were leaking questions to Hillary for the debates and giving her in advance. It was found that basically the Hillary campaign was acting as a wing of the DNC. They were controlling press releases and stuff. So if WikiLeaks had released all this information on the Republicans rigging their primary, the Republican candidate, the Republican nominee, saying all these insane things that the American people should know, like, oh, by the way, I have public and private positions. I'll tell the people what they want to hear, but then behind the scenes, I'm doing what the donors want, and I'm really on the side of the donors. If WikiLeaks had released RNC leaks and information on the Republican nominee, would Rachel Maddow say, our elections have been attacked because maybe a foreign country was involved in giving the American people information about their candidates that they should know? Not in a million years would Rachel Maddow ever say it was an attack on our election when we got information that we had every right to know if it was on the other side. But since it's on the precious Democratic side, she becomes the most partisan hack I've ever seen. Ever. And now all of a sudden, forget the substance of the leaks. Don't look at the substance of the leaks. Don't look at the substance. Don't look at the substance. Attack the messenger. Oh, maybe this came from Russia. And by the way, they don't even say maybe. They say it definitely came from Russia. This came from Russia. We've been attacked. We've been attacked with factual information about our beloved candidate. We've been attacked. So this is what a Russian fucking troll farm with next to no impressions and actual factual information on how they tried to rig an election, a candidate tried to rig an election and said horrendously far-right things behind the scenes. This is what we learned. And she's summarizing this as, will Donald Trump accept that Russia attacked our election? Will you accept that you are the liberal Glenn Beck and the hackiest of all hacks? And I am absolutely floored, not just at the response from Rachel Maddow, but from, honestly, virtually all of mainstream media and some outlets beyond mainstream media, where they're not reckoning with this, and they're not being honest, and they're not being upfront, and they're deflecting, and they're obfuscating, and they're misleading. And it's depressing, man. It's depressing because the minimal amount of integrity, all they have to say is, hey, listen, the core point of Trump colluding with Russia, we were wrong. There's no evidence in that direction, and we put too many eggs in that basket. But hey, outside of that, here's what I think Trump is guilty of. And let's have a separate conversation about that. If they were to say that, I wouldn't have to do these segments. Because you know what? Fair enough. As long as you admit that on the core theory, you were wrong, fine. But they're not doing that. None of them are doing that. And it's... The thing is, like, what they're saying now isn't even, like, mildly convincing. So if you're somebody who didn't agree with me this entire time when I've been warning you about what would happen, but you're still, like, you're listening to the reactions now from these people who said that the worst theory was true, and you still believe them, I honestly don't know how that's possible. I have no idea how that's possible. Because I think that honestly requires an incredible level of self-delusion. I really do believe that. And it's actually kind of scary to me that people who are nominally on our side can have the blinders on that strongly. So, again, listen, I'll say it. I really don't want to talk about this issue anymore. And in a world that made sense, the second we learned that the most extreme theory of RussiaGate was false, and we're not going to get any more indictments, and we're not going to get impeachment, and there's no evidence of collusion, the second we learned that, in a world that made sense, all these people would go, okay, on the main point we were wrong. Now we're going to focus on all the things that we know are important, number one, and number two would lead to Democratic victories. But they're not doing that. They're not doing that. A lot of people lost a lot of credibility with this, man. They really did. I don't want to talk about RussiaGate anymore. Don't make me talk about it anymore. Don't make me talk about this. But my guess is they're going to do that, and we're stuck. What are we going to do? Let everybody say insane things and not respond to it? Like, I'm trying to help here, guys. The point we were making all along, the RussiaGate skeptics, was you're actually helping Trump. You're helping Trump because you're overreaching, and now you're giving him a claim of victimhood, and you're making it so that people go, well, he was kind of right about that one, wasn't he? And so now when he screams fake news, you don't get to clutch your pearls and be like, how dare you, good sir? Where the beloved news media? You don't get to do that now, because on the main thing you've been focusing on, the theory's up in smoke. And now instead of acknowledging it, you deflect, you deny, you obfuscate, you mislead, you conflate various issues, and it's just sad. And again, here's the final thing I'll say for this segment. Relax. I know people love these, as Glenn Greenwald puts it, people thought that in real life, RussiaGate was like a Tom Clancy novel where the president is secretly a Manchurian candidate controlled by Russia. And it's hilarious that people ever believe that. But I still think Trump's going to go down when he's no longer president. I said it once, I'll say it again. My first prediction was you're not going to get Trump on collusion or treason or anything like that. But my second prediction was, specifically in the Southern District of New York, there are investigations into Trump's financial crimes, and he's guilty. And there's so much evidence that I'm totally convinced of in that investigation. So, there's bank fraud, as we covered the other day. There's tax evasion. There's money laundering. There's a variety of financial crimes. It's a fucking buffet, a smorgasbord, however you say it, of financial crimes. And they have the evidence. So I think he'll be indicted when he's no longer president. Within the first year of him not being president, I think he's going to be indicted on financial crimes. So relax. He's still going to go down. He's still garbage. He's still guilty of emoluments. So if you wanted to actually go forward with impeachment, although that's a separate question as to whether or not that's a wise thing to do, but if you wanted to go forward with it, you got emoluments. But that's the thing. Nobody's talking about emoluments. Nobody's talking about the actual financial crimes. It all goes back to a grand conspiracy involving the Russian government, and that there is no evidence for that, and you overreached and you look like a bunch of dumbasses. And don't buy into it, by the way, because there are some people who are conflating those two investigations. And they're saying, yeah, I was concerned about financial crimes all the time. But hold on, wait a second. The core argument that they were making was the financial crimes somehow link back to the Russian government. And that's not true. They don't link back to the Russian government. Full stop. No evidence of that. Period. Those are separate things. Russia collusion, Trump working with the Russian government, Trump doing financial crimes. Totally separate. Don't conflate them. That's bullshit. That's not a thing. There's no evidence of the financial crimes being linked to the Russian government. Stop it. Stop it. I'll leave it at that. But this is sad. I'm distraught over this because I want us to move on. But we're not able to move on, man. And people keep digging their hole deeper and ruining their credibility further. And I think they have no clue how they look to people who are willing to follow evidence.